You're tuned in to the Why Sound Works podcast, presented by Soundshop.
Have you ever wondered what it is like to get into the mind of a professional producer, mixing and mastering engineer, entrepreneur, club owner, label owner, and owner of a music production tools website? Well, stay tuned and find out. What's up, everyone? I'm Daniel Strongen, and I want to welcome you to episode number 3 of the Why Sound Works podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping you become a better music producer by exploring the music production process and all things music production related with professional music producers and industry professionals. In each episode of Why Sound Works, I chat with music producers and industry professionals from all over the world about the technical details of how they create their music, starting from the first mini note all the way to the mastering stage, as well as talking about their career in the music industry. This podcast is presented by SoundShockAudio.com, a site dedicated to the modern music producer where all your music production needs are met with over 300 plus free plugins, over 200 free preset packs, over 200 music production apps for Android and iOS, and the largest free sample pack library on the web right now with 900 plus free sample packs with over 190,000 free samples, as well as the most comprehensive music production tutorials online, all for free. In this episode, I'm going to be interviewing the founder of the music production tools website, We Make Dance Music, Mikas. Mikas has a unique perspective on music production and over 2 decades of experience in the industry. In this interview, we cover how music production was like before computers, the early stages of the software use in music, how Mikas started his music production site, We Make Dance Music, what value it has for producers, his views on the music production process as a whole, and much more. If you want to hear an artist or industry professional on the Why Sound Works podcast, you can shoot me a message at daniel@soundshockaudio.com. That is daniel@soundshockaudio.com. Also, if you like the podcast, feel free to leave a comment and review on iTunes, as this will help boost the popularity of the podcast, and all this great content will be able to reach more people. So let's get into the show. So, Mikas, I want to thank you so much for joining the show. I really do appreciate it. So for everyone who doesn't know who you are, why don't you give a brief explanation of who you are and how you got into the music industry?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mikas. I've been producing music since 2001. When I actually started in 1999, had my first touch on a computer with Rebirth, but I really started producing seriously 2 years later when I actually could afford it, because it was fairly expensive back in the days. And since then, I produce electronic music, mostly progressive. Some part are more trancey, some part are more deep, but it's progressive in essence. And I got started because I was running a nightclub, and I had the chance to DJ in a nice sound system at night in an after hour. And I fell in love with the music, and I had the chance to get a notebook, plug it into a 20,000 watt sound system. I connected it, and I played with, it was Rebirth. It was 2303, 1808, and 1909 in a rack, and I played with that for 7 hours in a row.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't stop because I was totally hooked up. It was so intense. After that, I decided I wanted to do music. It's really what I wanted. The passion for music started even before in 1993 when I went to my first rave, or dance music event in Quebec City, which is a long time ago. I guess 25 years ago now. Woohoo!
So you really had the dream experience, having a club sound system and all that gear to play with when you were learning how to produce. Where did you take your music career right after you started? Were you get on labels? Did you play a lot of gigs?
It was a long journey. I started, I had the chance to play in a club, to play with the software and, plug into very loud. But after that, there were a gap of 2 years before I went out of the club scene and back into really full-time music production and building a studio. And like I said, in 2001, a good PC was about $2,000, you know, so it was not accessible. And a good sound card, M-Audio 4.4, I believe, was $600 for something that was good, but there was still a hum in it. It wasn't very good. It was
Right.
great, 4 in, 4 out. No, 4 in, 4 out with MIDI back then, you know, for this one. No MIDI, this one. Actually, I remember this one. So it was not accessible even 15 or, well, 17 years ago. It was very costly, you know, and VST were just beginning, and they weren't that great either. So it was a very complex thing still, you know, to want to produce music. You know.
Right. So how was the transition into the DAW then?
Well, I started with I tried Pro Tool, I tried FL Studio, I tried Cubase, I ended up in Nuendo, which is more the post-production suite of Steinberg. It was much more stable at the time than even Cubase. Now it's equal, but it was the most advanced DAW that I could get in 2001 was Nuendo. It's still on. People produce movies with that. It's really advanced with a lot of function for editing in real time. It's I would use it now, but Steinberg interface is just not as good as Logic, so
Right.
doesn't work so well for me.
Right. So what do you think about all the advanced software we have today, as far as, you know, producers coming up and having the older producers, you know, see how amazing the technology has become in the scene these days?
I think all DAWs are pretty amazing if you get your workflow in it. If you get to learn your DAW and you put your own twist to it. You know, everybody writes music differently in different software, so it's never going to be one method that's going to get a result. It's very creative, so you have a lot of room to play with. But they all the major four and Bitwig and some others that are also excellent. The major four, which is Ableton, Logic, FL Studio, and Cubase, they are on their own amazing. And they don't crash. You know, when I started, Cubase was crashing. No, I'm not going to say constantly, but you know, it was very unstable.
Right.
Even if you buy the best computers, you put the best RAM, you do the best thing, it was still unstable. So it's a big change now. Well, you can sit on your notebook in a cafe and make a track, and your computer won't crash. You know? So that's great. So.
Absolutely. Technology has made it accessible to everyone. As long as you have a laptop and headphones, you're pretty much good to go for making music. So I have to ask, how did you get into your site, We Make Dance Music? How did that, you know, love for music, DJing, producing, how did that translate into your site that you have now?
So back then in 2012, I was producing. I had a co-producer in Vancouver, and we're making every Thursday. We make music, you know. So every Thursday we do studio session, settle always. So one of the Thursday I finished. So we finished the session. We composed together because we're two guys jamming in the studio, making some tunes, you know. And after we finished, he sent it to me because I had a better setup, I had a better room and better speakers. So I do the mix and the mastering. So he always send me the files. So we finished the session, he sent it to me, and then I started using Logic 9 back then, and sent me the file. And one day I left this place, and he just sent me the files, and I have the notification on my phone, just send you the files via TransferWise or whatever that was, SendSpace probably. And then I'm like, people would love to have those files. It just came to me, man. I was just walking down the street, I was looking at the notification on my phone, I was like, yeah, that's something that could work. That's something that people love. And then I asked myself, would I love this? I'm like, yeah, I would buy these. You know, I would buy these from anybody that would share it, and that was the start of it. It was April 23rd, 2012. I just started, and then I registered We Make Dance Music that night. It just came to me. I was like, it's gonna be the name of that site. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then I put it together. I registered the domain, and that was it. 3 months and something later, it was online.
Oh wow. That
I
quick?
dropped everything I was doing. I was having a DJ career. I was doing a TV show. I was doing many things at the time, and I was like, no, this idea is too strong. I really have to do something with it. You know, I dropped all the stuff completely, and I was like, okay, I want to do this one. To me, it's gonna change. To my view, it's gonna change the way people produce music. So this was the essence of it. So
very nice. So did you have any experience with website design, marketing, or any of that before getting into the site We Make Dance Music?
Yeah, I run a record label, Progressive Grooves Records, for since 2005. So yeah, I tried my hands on websites since the early 2000s, and I've been on the web literally since high speed arrived in early 2000s. I'm on the web constantly. I
Okay.
bought the first smartphone before there were smartphone. It was a Motorola with Windows OS. That was 2000. That was just when the iPhone, just before the iPhone arrived. It arrived in the US, but then in Canada. So just to give you an idea, I was really always loved tech and internet. That was just, it felt natural. So
Nice. Always been into tech. That's good. I feel a lot of people just kind of shove aside tech, and that really is the future.
well, it's yeah, it's necessary. You can't go without it. And while there's bad side to it, there's also an amazing side to it. Like the output, the global output of music these days is so intense. It's incredible.
Right. And you can reach anyone with your site anywhere in the world.
Yeah, we reach people. I can tell you that some people in Congo, in Bangladesh, in Qatar, in Afghanistan bought some of our stuff.
Oh, wow.
So
So it really is
that
global.
that's for me. It's impressive, to see that. And now, as of late, is China and Indonesia.
Nice.
Japan has been a while. From the start, we did good in Japan, but China somehow is becoming.
Nice.
When I see somebody in not only Hong Kong but Shenzhen and Sangzhou, like the biggest city inside, that have hundreds of millions of people that buy some stuff, that means something is coming. So something is definitely coming there. It's becoming more democratized, and people want to have fun because they make money, and it's changing now.
So what exactly do you sell on your site?
I sell music project files, or we call them templates. I was looking for a name, and projects, yes, they are projects, but they're templates, and they're most of them complete songs. Some people make them 2 minutes, some people make them 5, 6 minutes. It depends on the creator. We're not putting a standard that is very restrictive to creators, because you make music the way you want. You want to make something really intense in 2 minutes that have all the elements of a song. Great. You want to make a full track because you make full tracks and you want the person who buy it to have a full track experience. Great. So right now we have about 3,000 projects. FL Ableton first, then Logic Pro, and then FL Studio, and some Cubase. Cubase is the lesser popular with the new generation, I would say.
Right.
So yeah, we sell music templates. Some include plugins, some don't have plugins. It's a bit complex, but if you put it, if you let's say you would go on there, and you would say, oh, I'm going to buy this project. I have Silent One installed on my computer, latest version, hopefully, and I have Ableton 10 because I bought it or I pirated it, whatever you did. And then you download the template, you open it, it's a full song, it's composed, it's produced, it's got arrangement, it might have automation, it's got send channels, it's got MIDI composition, it's got the drums, it's got compression. It's the whole package. It's not like a sample pack that has only sounds in it. It's really, I think the biggest value is arrangements and the drums all separate, and the mix, and the groove really that you create, which is probably the hardest thing to do in electronic music, to really have that sound, that to have everything
Right.
balanced and deliver something to push. This was the hardest for me. So
Right.
I think people could really enjoy that. So this is what we sell. We sell sounds, we sell stems, which are full-length audio file that recreate the track. So we're gonna have 20 stems with all the elements separated. Instead of being little chunks of audio, they're full-length, so you can drop them in Pro Tools, drop them in any DAWs, and you're gonna recreate the demo instantly. Include some sound banks and some MIDI files too, to be able to work a bit deeper into the session. Some people, they're going to use the drums. Some people, they're going to chop it. It's with the DAW we have, you can do anything with it. It's really and I thought stems, we couldn't have done it 5 years ago because they're about 1 gig to 2 gig in size, and uploading 2 gigs to the internet is it's
Was a
slow.
lot.
Now it's getting there. We all have 300 megabyte fiber connections, and it's more accessible and people can upload. So stems, and we also started royalty-free music 1.5 years ago because I think there's a gap and nobody specialized into royalty-free dance music. And I want to open the door for artists to make better out of their music, to sell it, to license it. Even if you put a track, you license it, you make $6, $8, $10, it's going to be better than having 20,000 Spotify stream.
Right.
So that's another thing we started doing, and I think electronic music needs more avenue for people to be accessible, because it's not profitable for many people that put a lot of work into it, and it's sad to see amazing talent go away because they try, they don't succeed, and like, I'm gonna go, and do accounting now. So,
I gotcha.
So this is I try to give as much avenue as I would do to do it. Then we also offer audio services, which is mixing, mastering, composition, creating DAW templates for the people in a specific genre. Anything that could help people literally for their production.
So you really provide the complete package for producers with all this.
Yeah, sure.
From what it seems like, you have all the services, you have all the samples, you have all the templates, copyright-free music, all that. But when you first started the website, what did you have on the site? Just the templates? Is that what you started with?
I had 3 producer and Cubase templates and Logic templates. So yeah, I have some screenshots somewhere of that. I started with 30 template on July 15, 2012.
Okay,
with
nice.
3 of the producers that were working on my label. I recruited them, and I say, send me some project, like why I'm doing that, and I use all of my network and all of that I work with on my record label, and I put it in there, So it kind of went off really strong from the start. It went very, very good. In 6 months, people were discovering the videos on YouTube, and they're like, "Wow, I can buy this stuff." Okay, it just worked. It was a no-brainer. So, but still, 6 years on, I think many people don't know it exists. So that's the next thing, the challenge, to expose people to it. If they like it, great. If they don't, I can't really convince them of it.
So we were talking right before we recorded we started recording about how you got some backlash from people from your site. What has been that backlash, and from their perspective, why are they angry at you for creating this site and selling all this stuff for producers?
I think a lot of people think it's cheating. I would argue with them that dance music, electronic music in general, was founded on the basic principle of remixing records. House music in Chicago was people sampling some discos, twisting it, adding some stuff, and it's always been about using other people's music to make your own. So I don't see why those products would be any different. They're actually the same principle, but advanced to the technological level we have now. I think it's very legit, and they're like, well, I'm a purist, I make my own music, I don't use a template. I'm like, I can show you what I do with the template. I have a video somewhere on YouTube. I took one of my project, within 45 minutes, it was a completely different track, and it was really, really good. It's not, I think any tool that can ignite creativity should be out there. People should use it. So people on YouTube, they comment, and then now we have remakes of popular songs and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's just a copy and this and that. No, I think no one ever made music that never listened to music. So you have to listen to music, you have to inspire, you have to get it from somewhere. And if you like that Calvin Harris sound with those keys and those little guitars, great. If it's a starting point for you and it inspires you, do something with it. If you start from zero and you click on the silent bank and you like that, and you're trying to make a track, man, you're a long way. I started this way. I was processing all my samples, cutting them, compressing them, all drums one by one. I've done it. I know what it is, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a better starting point, at least for anybody that's interested or excited about music. So let me think about the comments that I have. Well, yeah, no, it's it's like it shouldn't be that way, this and that, and it's cheating. This is the most common one is cheating. So I'm sorry, but I don't see anybody not cheating anywhere in the world right now. So.
All producers use samples and loops, and a lot use templates. I mean, personally, I think there's nothing wrong with it. I feel like people get a little bit too carried away with saying, oh, I make everything by myself. I make every single preset. I make every single sample. I mean, that's great. I mean, good for you, good sound designer. But the listener doesn't care.
Yeah,
The listener
it's that.
really doesn't care at all, and even some labels don't even care. They'll talk about, oh, as long as you're using that cymatics sample creatively, we don't care that you're using it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is
And
the end result that counts. Like, but to get you going, to get you inspired, whatever goes, man. If you want to sit in the studio with your grandma, sit in the studio with your grandma. If that work, this is the creative process is not something that you can provoke. It's not. And if you have a little bit of help, great. I did templates from templates. I did some of my tracks. I released an album in this spring, and I made half of the track from templates, from stuff that I was really inspired. Like, man, this is good. I turned it around completely. I redid the synth. I used a vocal sample. I chopped it. I did some stuff. But the end result was only because this track that I had there that I was listening to, I was like, man, this is good. It has a groove, and it was those nice fat 808 hits, and I was like, wow. So this is the main track of my last album. It was a template, So from a
nice.
guy that I really knew, I know him from Montreal, and I worked with him, and I met him a couple of times, and I told him, I was like, man, wow, this is sick. The original was sick. The new version is, you can't. There's nothing really from the
Right.
original. But yeah, so this is the principle, at least, that I believe is true. So
Right. For me, I think the only thing that I think templates shouldn't be used is just copy and pasting and just calling it done and not putting your own spin on it. For me, I don't think that copy and pasting. There's no creativity in that. As long as you're putting your own sort of spin on it, I think that is how they should be used. What are your opinions on that?
I think some people are a little bit lazy, and to get to be successful in the music industry, I don't know any lazy person that gets successful in the music industry. Some got lucky, okay, that I won't mention, but most of the people work really hard. And this is not to get to the top. The point is to stay at the top. We can get to the top by luck. Are you going to stay there? I don't think so. But it's a thing. You have to put effort. We have many cases of people buying templates, releasing the tracks. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
We got on Beatport quite a few, and then like, okay, well, you realize that you stole a piece of music from somebody. The template might be royalty free. Yes, the template itself, but the composition of the track isn't. It's not. There's a bit of a. I want to tell you one thing. There's a bit of a misunderstanding between royalty free and copyright free. Copyright free is like the song can do whatever you want, chop it, do anything. Royalty free is simply that you don't have to pay money to distribute it and use it. It's a bit of a thing that people have to understand. When you make a piece of music, somebody cannot take it and release it. This is not royalty free. Royalty free is simply you're going to be able to use the part, you're going to release it, you don't have to pay any money, ever. So
Right.
this is an important factor. It doesn't limit, but we at least have to put a little bit of a boundary where people take the whole track and release it. It's like we said a couple of minutes ago, you do that and then you sell it and you're like, hey, I made that track. No, you didn't. So you can use all the drums, all the midis and stuff, change some note, do something, make a track,
Right.
So that's one of a bit of the sad aspect. We talk about the things that are lesser great that happen. But if it's somebody that's 22 years old from South America and he doesn't know and he buy that and he release it because he had no idea, okay, I understand, man. But if you're building yourself a career and you just steal tracks here and there, well, that's maybe not a good idea.
So how would you recommend? What would you recommend to artists who, let's say, they buy one of your templates? What are some techniques that you could use on the templates to put your own spin on it and get started with the track with your template?
Personally, I like to keep the arrangements. The arrangements are always useful because a lot of people, they start a beat, they start a melody, they put some music, and then, to arrange, to make a progression in the track and, to understand it. So I would take the whole drum, leave it, the effects, probably layers at the bottom, leave it. And I like to erase all the MIDI or keep some, but very little, because I want the sounds, I want the bass, I want the keys, I want some things, I'll put my spin on it, but I don't want to have the whole melody of it. I understand it's good to start, but if it's inspiring you, you just do it. Or if you want, you can take a template and drop some MIDI that you like. You can. I use personally some classical music MIDI. Deadmau5 did that quite famously too. I don't know if you know. So
Yeah.
why not take some Bach, and drop it on there and have some fun. This really, or if you get a keyboard, you get some keys, start playing. You don't need to know what you're doing as long as it sounds good. I put it this way. So keep the bass. Or if you like all the sounds, then you can rearrange the MIDI completely. This is the key to that, is you have MIDI and sound banks. This is the flexibility that no sample pack will ever offer. Is that you go into a track and then you switch the sound banks, you put what you like, you process it, you sidechain the hell out of it, and you feel like, So it's not because I do a track and I think it's finished that you're gonna take it and be like, oh yeah, I think this is okay. Now you're gonna have a completely different view, and you're gonna start putting your input into it, and then it will go, God knows where. So
Right. So are you usually using templates when you start your songs these days, or kind of just a little bit of everything, starting from scratch, starting with templates, starting with samples?
Everything. Samples, no. MIDI, yeah. I have a producer which I really like. That's a Czech guy that do trance. His name is Inner Hurt. It's amazing. But I use this MIDI because do really amazing chord progressions, and I don't have musical training, so I take his chord progression, drop it in the DAW, and start building tracks.
Nice.
This is how I do it, like straight from scratch, and I put some drums. I don't use plugins. I'm a purist. I use Silent. Pretty much that's it, and I use Logic. So I think Logic is full of amazing tools. I don't need anything else. And I started a track, or it could be another day that there's one of the track I made that was like, wow, this was really, really good. I take it, remix it, do another track. If I work on it, it depends. After all those years, I don't have a real starting point. If I feel like it, like I start with nothing, like literally nada, and I make a track like I used to do it in the early days. And those, most of the time, came out as the most creative, sonic-wise, of the sound of what I bring is really me. But again, it's just about everything goes. So
I see. I've noticed I've done a lot of interviews with producers, and they don't really have much music theory knowledge, but they make incredible music. I feel like electronic music has allowed producers to kind of, I wouldn't say throw away theory, but just maybe not have as much knowledge about theory and still create a compelling track. I guess, what's your opinion on music theory and electronic music these days?
I think music theory is unnecessary. I can tell you, well, you probably know Daft Punk. You probably know Giorgio Moroder, the guy that made the first 4/4 track.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, he made a song about it, clearly to say, hey, that's definitely not what you need to make good music. You need the groove. It's important to have that at some point. It could be useful. But I think to master your craft and to put out your own juice, your own creativity in it is much more important than to know. I made my best track with I think there's 3 keys in them. It's not the point. I'm more of a sound designer person who like the sounds and the keys and try to make things lively. But music theory, I think engineering in electronic music is much more important. Engineering and sound design is much more important.
Absolutely.
If you have a fat track that's got only 1 key in it, great. It's not even important, really. It's the output of what it is important. One of the best examples of that is me. I am not a fan of dubstep, okay, and I am a bit more now, but because I listen to what the people put on the side, and I'm like, wow, this is the shit. But so this guy Skrillex. How do you say that? Skrillex? I don't even know how to say Skrillex. But this guy, so I heard of him and stuff, and then I go to a summer festival in Quebec City, which is a huge festival. I did not understand his music whatsoever. Okay, I was like, I go there. He was on stage. He was playing for 30,000 people.
What year was this?
That was a while ago, 2014, 15, maybe. I'm not certain. He was in the summer festival in Quebec City for like a massive crowd. So, and then I was there, and then I got his music. I got his stuff, and it was not. It's heavy. It's a lot of really heavy engineering. It really has that push. But I didn't understand it until I hear it play it on a big stage. I tried to listen to it. Some people play me. I was like, it's kind of I don't know. I don't get it. But then I get it. But this is not what makes music is definitely not the chord progression. Definitely not. It's like the sound design of those layers and those growls and this whole interaction and the push and pull of what is really, I think, to me, cool dubstep is that. It's nothing to do with composition.
Right.
You know, it could be the same key for all of the element. It wouldn't really matter.
Right. So where do you see the music industry going as far as, what's going to be popular next in the industry?
I don't know. I think it's. I tell you, my vision of the progression of what happened over the last 25 years that I've seen what happened. I think people get their entry point into electronic music to, above and beyond, and the big name, Kashmir, whatever, that is popular. And then if they like it enough, they go down to the sub levels and they find artists that really make electronic music that make them vibrate. Of course, if you go to a big open air show with 50,000 people, you're gonna like that. But there's so much more to electronic music than just the popular people. I think this is my story at least. You don't hang on to those people. Music is great, but there's so much more out there. There's so much really amazing, soulful, deep house, some really great future bass that's like, wow, I don't know. What's next? I don't know. I think breakbeat is the big thing right now with future bass. Future bass and some down tempo stuff. And, I think I've seen it coming. I think it was coming for a while. It's more, I would compare it more the rock side of electronic music, because rock 4/4 sometimes more breaky, different beats, and it's better. It's more complex music. It's not like a 4/4 house music with the same sample for 5 minutes.
Right.
More, it has some groove to it. It has some progression. So I think future bass is going to stay, and it's going to be. It's already on radio everywhere. So I guess.
Yeah, future bass has exploded over the last few years. Everyone's listening to it. Everyone's producing it.
What's next? It's a good question. I think maybe I really don't know. House music is still strong now. They all see people think that this thing is more popular, but it's only because they're within circles that are going in that direction. It's not necessarily that globally everybody listens to future bass. You go to a big EDM event, it's gonna be there. You go to nightclub, deep house is huge. You go to different, so it's just like little cells of people. So it's a bit more complicated.
What's popular in Vancouver right now?
I am in Barcelona.
Oh, you're in Barcelona. Okay.
So
crazy party city.
Here it's techno. Europe is very techno. It's very, very techno. In the bigger city, you have big EDM events and stuff, but it's techno. Techno is king here and in Germany. In England, you're going to be more progressive and house and deep. It's deep house is here. But if I play a techno track that I believe is techno here, they're going to say, no, this is house, So
it all depends where you are and how they classify the music. Isn't drum and bass popular at all over there? I remember I went to a few clubs, like the Music Box, I believe it was, and they had a few drum and bass shows.
No, I don't think drum and bass is popular anywhere, but still, I don't know. Personally, I love drum and bass. Okay, I'm a big fan, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't go out much, at all. So I couldn't tell. I'm busy here, in the studio. So going out is secondary. I think giving opportunity to the people that I work with is more important than getting smashed in the club. So I think that it's better to work on the next generation than to go there. I don't think I'm going to meet a lot of people that will sign up to my site, in the club. So it's a bit of a So my time is better invested here.
So what does a typical day look like for you, running the site and everything?
You want to know? Oh my God! Okay, people freak out a little bit. I wake up at 6 every day, and I work hopefully 12 to 15 hours in the day.
That's a lot.
6 or 7 days a week. Yeah. I start with emails, recovery, customers. We have a fair amount of customers. We have a fair amount of marketing. We have a fair amount of products coming in every day. I have a product manager. I have a programmer. I have my wife working with me. There's a lot of artists uploading. It's constantly. I have to monitor the transaction because there's a lot of fraud, sadly, or a lot. Some fraud. it's on the day to day. There's a lot, and I do contract at work, so yeah,
So it's never a dull moment. Always something to do.
yeah, I have a lot to do. It's always like that. Now we want to get the word out. I think that with almost 5,000 product, most people will find what they like. So now I think it's time to put the word out to get the people to either upload and download. People have to understand too, through our conversation, that this is not only people and labels selling, is anybody like you or somebody that make music with a doc and upload a template. It's not. I want it to be open, so any creative idea that could be shared could be taken and remixed. I am surprised personally of seeing people uploading stuff that I'm like, okay, creatively it's cool. Mix is not exceptional, but I will take it in because somebody else might like it. And you know what? People are buying those. So that means on the other end, somebody is there and is like, yeah, I like this group. I want to do something like that. So, and I won't mention, but I have a fair amount of very famous people who bought templates. So
Nice.
when I say a fair amount, yes. And the top artists in the world, yeah, I have some of these. So that's a good. When that happens, it's a good sign of. It's a sign of okay, I think we're on the right track. So
Yeah, I was looking through a lot of your templates, and I was impressed by the quality of a lot of them, and all sorts of genres. I mean, you really nail down all the big electronic genres, as well as go out into like jazz and genres like that, which is real nice, which you don't see a lot. That variety.
it's orchestral and electronic music goes well together. Jazz goes well. Rock,
yeah.
anything goes. Like I think it's now we're going to pop. Pop is electronic mostly, but real pop song like Adele, like whichever. It's not. If there's something you like, good. It's to give like the tools. So that's about it.
So if producers are looking to release any templates, they have samples that they think are good, how could they get in contact with you to potentially release on your site? How does that whole process work?
The process is very simple. On the front page, there's either get inspired or upload. And you click on upload, it's going to lead you to a page that will give you some details, of what we do. I also did a bit of a comparison chart of our platform to the regular old school and, what we offer that is, I believe, better. And then you sign up and I approve the account and we review all the music that's coming in. If it's not good, I'm going to send an email, say, well, the mix is not, but it really would have to be very beginner with no creative idea for us to refuse it. Some people, they go on the site and like, oh, this is not so good. But you have to understand, music is subjective. So I think an idea is an idea and it should be preserved. I want to become like a large database of people, of ideas from people, that share those ideas. And yes, there's money involved because it's music and nobody's making any money from music, Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give those for free. I have some artists that are with us for 4 or 5 years and they made in the tens of thousands of dollars and they have a nice studio, they bought apartments, they build their life around that. And, this is a chance that they wouldn't have had without us. So giving the power back to the creators is just so important. So signing up is easy. I want it frictionless. When frictionless is simple, is when you go to Google and you accept the term of service, you click, right? That's no friction. If you want to sell stuff on another site, you get to sign a contract, they're going to evaluate, you're going to have to commit to whatever. I think it destroys the whole creative process and you got to do things because you think they're going to sell. As us, I want people to make a track with hopefully the least plugin as possible and then upload it so other people can just get creative with it. It's a very different mentality of so like I said, people perceive it differently, but this is really what's behind it. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the royalty split for putting let's say I put a project file up on your site, what percentage?
The base split is 50-50. For people that have 25 or more product, we go to 60. We hope to increase it because we still have a lot of cost. But it's standard. If you sell on Beatport, it's the same. You sell on Producer Loops, it's the same. You sell on ADSR, it's the same. Gotcha. We give 60 to people that have 25 or more product that are committed. If you're committed and you make templates, and what I would say to labels that do sample pack is like when you do a sample pack, you create a track in the DAW. Why don't you just upload that track instead of create a sample pack? It's just like a kind of a logical thing.
Very
But
true.
uh, so it's even simpler. So it goes from your creativity to the person who get the creativity. It's like the simplest path and the less friction path. But again, there's a DAW, there's plugins, so there's complication, into the looking for something and finding something. So we have to have an immense amount of choice.
Right. So what's next for We Make Dance Music? What do you hope to expand on or start something new inside the website?
We're gonna start a record label. So
Okay,
we're
nice.
gonna release music from templates or not templates. We're gonna release music from our artists because I want them to have another avenue. And the site will keep on expanding a lot. Now we're having a lot of product. It's every day we told on to enabling some products, so it's a very good sign. But I think it's choice. What is coming is choice. On as much as possible. You have to. If you go to shop on Amazon, you can find like a little duck of different sizes. Floating duck. You can probably find 10 different sizes. It's the same thing for us. We want to have as much choice as possible. So if you browse us, and then you something that like, oh, click. The producer click like, oh, this is good. I like that. Then if you don't find that, you just wasted your time. So it's a bit sad. So we also put the technology to make sure people find that as soon as possible, as fast as possible, hopefully. So
Nice.
what's coming out? This is that's a choice. More
Nice.
producers, more labels, more free stuff, more.
Nice. So you're really giving the power to the artist here with your site, which is great to see with your site, because I'll see a lot of sites that don't really give that power back to the artists, where they're just looking to make a quick dollar on something they're selling. And it's refreshing to see a site like this.
I think people they have it wrong creating something for the masses. When you do a sample pack, I'm not going to diss anybody because some of them are really high quality, but creating something for the masses just because it's popular now will not have soul. If you make a track that you love for yourself just because you push yourself into it, and somebody's going to feel that on the other end. There's no choice. It's not going to be. The tools are good. I think those tools are good for producers who make track ghostwriters or whatever for other people that want to sound that way. But for people that want to be creative, that want to stand out, which you have to do if you want to be successful in that business. If you make the Avicii sound, you just make the Avicii sound. No disrespect, but you still make that sound. Like make something else.
Right.
Everybody that succeeded came up with a sound that was different, fat or whatever that is. Like this Skrillex or whatever his name is exactly that. He came with a sound that like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
Really? Like, this is cool, So that's what you need. This is what you need in electronic music. You don't go and make some, Calvin Harris style track. You're not gonna go anywhere with that. You're not Calvin Harris, so not you, but obviously the person. So
Right. So what would you recommend for producers looking to create their own signature sound? Because that really is a big topic and can be very difficult, especially for producers just starting out. As you mentioned, they'll just listen to their favorite songs and then try and copy them.
I think they should get their grandma in the studio.
That's the secret.
Yeah, this is no, but I think I did that. Okay, I did that with a co-producer who produced an album, which is really cool. And every time we were like, okay, that sound a little too much like this, a little too much like that. I'm like, this is great, let's do it. Every time we're going toward a certain sound, that we're like, sorry, I have to go back. I think people go from the get-go to try to create a certain sound, So I'm going to make a deep house track. And then halfway through, it's like, that doesn't really sound like deep house. So you just drop it because it's not what you wanted at first place, which is a very bad mistake.
Right.
Because
right.
if deep, that means that your creativity went somewhere and then you brought something to the table. And then you're like, oh, this is cool. This is more techie or whatever, whatever that is that may be at this moment, but go there. Go in those unknown territories and explore and go deeper and deeper and drop some trance riff in a freaking deep house track if you want, Why not? So it's not. I don't think people should be bound by what they want to do. They should go and open completely to any possibility. Record some frogs if you want, man. This is music. It's not. We're not making cakes here. So.
Right. I think what happens sometimes is, producers will, have a specific label that they want to be on, Monster Cat, Owsla, labels like that, and they'll just copy certain tracks just to kind of get on that record label. I mean, do you have any tips for producers looking to get on labels without just copying someone else's track?
I think people should persevere with their own sounds and not try to get onto a label with a certain track. Try to make connection with the people at the label, make connection with the people that are on the label, try to collaborate with people. I think the key to success in anything is collaboration. You have to go to people, you have to try to share your music to the people you think will like it, just do that. It's increasingly difficult with the web, because everybody's pitching music everywhere with automated system, and then your DJ, you open your promo inbox and you have like 1,000 track. You're like, you have to hire somebody to listen to all of these. Does he have the same taste? Maybe not. So it makes things more complicated. So it's trying to connect in your industry. It could be at the bottom. It could be at the top. You could go and meet some people. It could be at music production meetup, Ableton Live meetup, tech meetup, whatever. You really have to go in and create those connections, collaborate, exchange, and doors will open eventually. Yeah?
Awesome. So where can everyone find you? Where can they contact you? And the site, all your social media? Give us all that stuff.
All that stuff. Anybody feel free to send me an email on the site at any time. WeMakeDanceMusic.com. I look at all the emails. I have a few hundred a day, but it's nice, to see that. And social media, I'm sorry, I am not really so much into that. So we have a cool YouTube channel. Social media is there. It's not. I don't post. I don't do anything on there. I am a real life person. That's it. It's just not my thing. So yeah. So WeMakeDanceMusic.com. That's where I would send people to look at what we do. And if they send an email, I'm going to get it, or my assistant's going to get it, and we're going to answer. We're all always here, Get down.
So that's going to do it for episode number 3 of the Why Sound Works podcast. I want to thank you all for joining, and I hope you got plenty of music production tips and tricks that you guys could use, as well as the mindset that you can take into your own productions. And again, if you guys want to check out all the production resources that Mikas has on his site, head on over to WeMakeDanceMusic.com. And if you would like to hear a particular artist or industry professional on the podcast, feel free to email me, Daniel Strongen, at daniel@soundshockaudio.com. That is Daniel@soundshockaudio.com, and I will get in contact with this person. Also, feel free to leave a comment or review on iTunes if you enjoyed the podcast. And be sure to check out the #1 spot on the web for the modern music producer, soundshockaudio.com, where all your music production needs are met, as we have the largest library of free sample packs on the web right now, as well as tons of free plugins, presets, contact instruments, and music production apps. So check out soundshockaudio.com. And that's going to do it for the episode, so I'll see you all next time.